Hello guys, back again, and this time we're going to talk about a game for the Wii U eShop. It is called Hex Heroes. Now, to describe Hex Heroes, the developer calls it a party RTS, or a party real-time strategy game. Now, to me this makes perfect sense, and why hasn't a RTS been a party, why hasn't there been this type of game made before? Because it only makes sense to draw people into playing a kind of series or a kind of genre that has a stigma to it. That traditionally RTSs are a single player game or online one person versus one person. That's traditionally what RTSs are. And what's the point of what makes this game different? This game is a 5-player co-op game. And what it means is you're playing on, let's say you're playing on the gamepad and 4 other players are playing, and they're on split screen, 4-player screen on your screen, and you've seen what they're doing while you're on the gamepad. Now, they are doing a Kickstarter asking for $80,000 to fund the game. And talking about it, they are going to have stretch goals, which they kind of got some of the goals posted on there, but they don't have actually like how much money they got to get to those stretch goals. I know like the ultimate stretch goal is going to be to put this game not only on the Wii U but the PC. But the other cool thing about this Kickstarter is only four of the character classes have been decided. The other 4 character classes are going to be decided by the people on Kickstarter. So in a sense, you get more than just donating money to a game. In some ways, you get a little bit more involved by actually deciding the 4 other character classes that are going to be in the game. Now, they have several different donations amounts with several different things to get: a signed poster and soundtrack, T-shirt. There's one called Dev Genie, where basically you get the development tools for the game that they use to look at the game and make the game. You get ability to be a voice actor in it. You get to make some development decisions. So there's a lot of different goals for different donations if you wanted to donate to the game. So it's rather interesting that they are doing more than just, and I think eventually with Kickstarter, there will be more decisions made by the fans, because then it ultimately feels like, hey, I backed the game, and I got to make decisions on the game. But not always. So looking for $80,000 for this game, to make this game. This game is coming out for the Wii U eShop. And here's how the game works. So basically, the player who has the gamepad is the one who gets to decide. He's like the overlord in the game. So the other players are getting, your TV players complete objectives and harvest materials, and then the gamepad player gets to decide how those materials are used. He can also construct like buildings. He'll be able to boost individual stats of the teammates. So it's good to be on his good side, so that he can make you easier for you to do things you need to do. Again, you got to play together in a sense. TV players can select 2 different type of A classes, and this is cool because this allows combinations with 2 classes. So for example, you could be like offense, like you could be like a knight/woodcutter, or you could be like purely support based, where you're a woodcutter/scout. So two combinations of the classes together could lead to different combinations to help you better in doing whatever specific thing you want to do as a TV player. Now, there are different modes in the game. Lair mode is an attempt to discover and seal off enemy lairs, or you could play, of course, the typical brave endless waves of foes in a horde mode. If you need a break from that stuff, there's also single player versions of those, and of course, as well as online versions. There's a single player battle mode, and just to get you a little more excited about the game, Prasmatic has enlisted Banjo-Kazooie composer Grant Kirkhope for the game's soundtrack. So if you like the music in Banjo-Kazooie or Grant Kirkhope's music, there's another reason to possibly want to donate to the game. Again, as of right now, the game's a little over $9,000 with 24 days to go. It's a really cool age we live in compared to last generations, because in last generations of consoles, when a console wasn't doing what it's supposed to or considered failing, and it gets that, obviously, that public perception, and the public starts to steer away from it and go to the other consoles that don't seem to be failing. Big developers start to pull away from the consoles, right? They start going to the other ones that are doing better and can make them money. Obviously, their business. And games just dried up on those systems. We're today age with Kickstarter and Indiegogo. the developers that little developers made that love those systems, who want to make games for those systems, with the funding can now make games on those systems, and instead of a system completely drying up or whatever, the little publisher can come in and actually make the game themselves instead of traditionally going to a big publisher, hoping they'll pick it up and hopefully they'll release it on that console. Now they don't have to go through that. And to be honest, the indie scene is much more, to be honest, more exciting to me than the big publishers right now because of how creative their games are, and some just plainly made for love and fun, where the big publishers, they just don't do a good job making indie games themselves, little games, because they don't know how to handle them properly. They make a game and then they'll put like a marketing push behind that little game, and you don't need to. One of the best things about the indie games is simply word of mouth. YouTube people on YouTube, fellow gamers, if they find that game to be a good game, word of mouth will help that game more. Sometimes putting a big marketing push on it will sometimes hurt that kind of game. And so, like for example, Minecraft, that game, word of mouth and attention it got, right away, boom, and people just, YouTube was one of the things that helped that game immensely. People watched it, well, that's the kind of game I want to play. And so, because big studios want to push games out quickly, and they don't know how to properly make little games. As of right now, I think eventually they might get to it, but the indie guys can do the stuff the big guys can't. They don't have that whole corporate structure. They don't have that whole politics you deal with the big company. With any company, they can make the game they want to make and release it, and not have to answer to somebody else who doesn't like it. So if you're looking for a new game for the Wii U, and I think one of the coolest things about this too is that instead of saying, I have to, there's always that big budget game coming out that everybody wants to have that you're like, that's cool, I want to play that. But instead of having to like, oh, these are my only selections for the system, with Kickstarter and Indiegogo, you can donate to the kind of game you actually want to play on that system, which I think is really cool. So, what do you think about a 5-player party RTS game on the Wii U? Would you support a game like this? I mean, for Wii U owners, this is a good thing, and I like to show attention to games that aren't necessarily going to get a lot of attention like this, that definitely deserve attention, because it might be something that people want to play. You're sitting around with your friends, you go, you know what, guys? They want to play a party RTS online? Boom, you can play that game. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, subscribing, like the video. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.